Hey everyone, I'm the Anime Watcher, and today I have watched all 11 episodes of Demon Slayer Season 3 in 0.25x speed and found 81 amazing detail that you may or may not have seen before. To not waste any of your time, let's get into the juicy detail. Episode 1 picks right up where Season 2 left off, and the first detail that I notice is Akaza breaking the fourth wall by looking at the camera. This is also the first time that a character in Demon Slayer breaks the fourth wall. The second detail is, when Akaza punches Doma's mouth off, he makes it seem effortless. But if we watch in slow motion, we can see him using his airtight blood demon art. That means he did use his strength, but he just acted normal to look cool. Also, when Doma regenerates his mouth, the anime shows him regenerating his bone and flesh in great detail. This is also the first time we see a demon regenerate his bone. The third detail is, when Muzan talked about Jutaro and Daki being defeated, we could see in his book that he tried out 133 different flowers to make the medicine that could let him walk in sunlight, but none of them worked so far. The fourth detail is, when Tanjiro woke up from the coma, we saw Miss Tamayo's cat on a branch. It was shaking because it thought Tanjiro was going to die. Also, in theory, this cat was always near Tanjiro the whole time. It only goes away from him whenever he got the upper moon demon blood. So that means this cat was always near to Tanjiro than Nezuko. The fifth detail is, when Tanjiro traveled to the swordsmith village, they covered his eyes and nose. Even the Kikuchi didn't know the road because they switched up people along the way. But notice that even the crow had to switch up too. The sixth detail is, in the bathtub scene, we saw Genya breaking his sharp demon-like teeth and throwing them on Tanjiro's head. In episode 11, they revealed that Genya had a rare power that allowed him to consume demon flesh and gain power as a half-demon. But doesn't that mean he just fought a demon before coming to this village? The seventh detail, when Tanjiro was walking in the hallway with Mitsuri and Nezuko, we could see in the background a woman Kikuchi looking shy at Tanjiro without any reason. Well, it's because when this Kikuchi picked Tanjiro up on the way to the village, Tanjiro accidentally grabbed her boba. They didn't show it in the anime, but it's in the manga. The eighth detail, when Tanjiro saw a fighting doll for the first time, the audience was shocked, because the kid named Kotetsu said his ancestors built it 300 years ago. But how did people from 300 years ago build a doll that was capable of 100 fighting moves? Wooden dolls were actually first invented in Japan in 8000 BC, so all dolls in Western countries are actually inspired by Japan. The ninth detail is when he fought the doll. They also revealed that Tanjiro, using his ability to scent the doll movement attack, but notice he said he sensed something strength about this doll. Well, it's because this doll was touched by many Hashira, including his ancestor, also his ancestor sword, sun breathing is in that doll. The 10th detail is when the Upper Moon 5 ate the swordsmith and spit him out. We not only saw blood, but we also saw black liquid. If you don't know, that black liquid is actually ink, because the Upper 5 was an artist when he was a human, so his blood demon art also used ink. The 11th detail is people ask why Genya didn't sleep and walked around to find the swordsmith in the middle of the night was because he felt like the demon was nearby. It's not because he had a scent ability like Tanjiro at all, no. But because he already fought a demon before he went to that hot tub on the mountain, so he worried that more demons would come. The 12th detail is Nezuko started copying the cute gestures of Takedo. Even in episode 11, when she became immune to the sun, she still did those gestures to Takedo. The 13th detail in this scene was the first time we saw Mitsuri's sword design up close. The sword handle looked like a heart shape and had a lily flower on top. Also, her blade had a shady pink color, just like her hair. The 14th detail, when Tanjiro's sword burned because of Nezuko's blood, he used the Hinokami Kagura dance to slash all 3 demon heads. But notice that this time was different from other attacks. The fire dragon this time was real because of Nezuko's blood. It was not just an effect like the water-breathing form. The 15th detail, the scene cut to Genya cutting off the sad emotion demon head, but if you noticed, the bottom half of the demon head was gone. Well, it's because Genya ate the demon head to gain the power of a half-demon, half-human. The 16th detail, we all remember the thrilling moment in episode 11 when Tanjiro unleashed the thunder breathing technique, like Zenitsu, right? But did you notice that he also showed a glimpse of this skill in episode 6? In this scene, Tanjiro moved so fast that he slid under the demon's hand. This suggests that Tanjiro was already using thunder breathing since episode 6, but he just didn't realize it. In other words, he accidentally tapped into this power without knowing it. The 17th detail, Tanjiro's red sword, or should I say his partially red sword. The middle part of the blade is still crimson, but the top and the bottom have reverted to black. This reveals that this sword is not a true color-changing sword, but rather a temporary effect of Nezuko's flame demon art heating it up. So, we are still waiting to see a genuine bright red sword in action. The 18th detail, when Tanjiro was about to decapitate the 5th demon. It makes a friction noise from Tanjiro's sword and the demon's neck. It sounded like metal scraping against metal, which means that the demon's neck was harder than steel. If you watch the video in slow motion, you will see sparks flying out of the demon's neck. The 19th detail, the appearance of the 6th demon. He was a hybrid of 3 other demons. His legs came from the anger demon, his hands from the sadness demon, and his horns from the joy demon. The 20th detail. If you look closely, you will notice that the wooden dragon only moved when the hatred demon banged the drums on his back. If Tanjiro was smarter than that he could just find the way to destroy the drum first, that would be easy to defeat him. The 21st detail. Another detail that I noticed was the connection between the upper 5 demons' vases and his powers. The patterns on the vases matched the powers that he unleashed from them. So if they paid attention to the designs on the vases, they could anticipate his next move. The 22nd detail. In episode 8 in Tokido's flashback, we don't see his twin brother until after their parents die. This suggests that his brother was selfish and didn't care about anyone else, not even his own family. He always told Tokido not to help others because that's what got their parents killed. The 23rd detail. At the next scene, when the master's wife visits Tokido, we learn that their father had the same bloodline as Tanjiro's father, who could use the sun-breathing technique. That's why their father looked so much like Tanjiro. The 24th detail. In Tokido flashback, it was in summer, so the brothers slept with the door open to cool down. But that also made them vulnerable to the demon, who smelled their sweat. If they had closed the door that night, maybe his brother would have survived. The 25th detail. We also find out that Tokido has a burning scar on his face, similar to Tanjiro's. Remember, the scar only appears when they get angry. The 26th detail, another detail, is when Tokido comes to rescue the swordsmith, the 5th demon uses another vase with a giant octopus's arm inside. But notice the pattern on the vase. It matches the power of the octopus. The 27th detail. Another thing is, some people might be confused about how Tokido got a new sword so quickly in this scene. But if you watch carefully, you can see that the swordsmith was about to throw him a new one before the octopus pushed him closer to Tokido. You can tell that he only has the sheath in his hand, which means Tokido already took the sword from him. Shout out to the animation team for this subtle detail. The 28th detail, before Tokido attacks, you can see his red scar glowing from within. It's not just a mark, but a demon slayer mark, and it's a source of power that only certain people with this bloodline can access, like Tanjiro and Tokido. The 29th detail. Amidst the chaos and carnage, we see the swordsmith diligently working on a new blade for Tanjiro. If you pay attention, you'll notice that the sword is still missing a handle. That's because Tanjiro has entrusted his old handle to a young boy who will attach it to the new sword. The 30th detail. A curious sight catches our eye as we glance at Tokido's swordsmith. He seems to be holding another sword in his hand. Where did he get it from? Is it a spare blade for Tokido? Well, not quite. If you recall, this is actually Tokido's sword sheath, the protective cover for his blade. In the previous episode, Tokido only grabbed the sword from the swordsmith, leaving the sheath behind. The 31st detail. This scene reveals that Tokido is not only strong, but also smart, like Tanjiro. He knows he can't fight this demon head-on because he can easily escape from one vase to another in a flash. So he comes up with a brilliant plan. Did you notice how Tokido insults the upper 5 demon? He does that on purpose, because the only way to lure this demon into a close combat is to make him angry. So Tokido mocks his artwork on the vase, and that hits the demon's weak spot. The 32nd detail. Whenever Tokido uses his breathing technique, they also show a mist animation from his mouth. but did you notice how the mist that comes from his mouth looks similar to the scar on his face? This implies that he uses mist breathing but still has the power of the sun breathing. That's why he is so strong. Even the Sound, Hashira admitted that he was more talented than him in Season 2. In this scene, when Takedo sprints to cut the demon's head, we see the demon frightened and dropping his body into the vase. That's because Takedo moves too fast, making the demon panic. He has no choice but to leave his skin there. Moreover, his skin is the only thing that connects his body to the vase, but now Takedo has cut off his skin neck, so he can't jump from one vase to another anymore. In this scene, some people may be puzzled about where the fish came from. But if you watch closely, you'll see that the fish were already inside Takedo's clothes. The demon also explains that everything he touches will become fish. You can see that even the dirt that he punched turned into fish. When Takedo has a flashback again, we see the master's wife and his 2 daughters come to save him. But did you notice that this is the only time we see the daughters shocked? These 2 girls always have the same expression from the beginning of Season 1, but in Takedo's flashback, these 2 girls look normal, and also have some different expressions. Either something happened to them along the way, or they trained to become emotionless like that. I want to talk about the real body of Gyoko, the upper rank 5 demon moon. Some people may think that he is a dragon, but according to the manga, he is not. The scales on his body are just fish scales. The reason why he looks so bizarre is because he was an artist when he was human, but he was bad at his job. That's why his art sucks. You can tell by looking at the way he designed his face. Did you notice that Takedo's wounds are moving? That's because he's staying there for too long without any help. So, the wound that you see moving is actually a tiny worm. If Master's wife and the daughter didn't came to help, Takedo will be death by this worm. This is a very important detail. Many people are disappointed with the upper rank 5 demon because they think he is too weak compared to Daki and Gyutaro, the upper rank 6 demons. It took 1 Hashira and 3 demon slayers and also Nezuko to defeat the upper rank 6, but it only took 1 Hashira to take down the upper rank 5. Let me tell you why. The truth is, the upper rank 5 demon was supposed to be Gyutaro. Gyutaro is actually stronger and more skilled than the upper rank 5. But Gyutaro doesn't care about the rank. He only cares about protecting his little sister. Even Muzan said that Gyutaro's weakness is Daki. If not for Daki, Gyutaro would challenge the other upper ranks to climb up his rank. That's why the upper rank 5 is weaker than the upper rank 6. More importantly, Takedo is a Hashira. He was trained by Giyu Tomioka, the water Hashira. He also lived in the master's mansion, so he trained better than other Hashiras. Moreover, Takedo is strong and talented. Especially when his scar came out, he became even stronger and could handle the poison. In this scene, when he slashes the demon's head into tiny pieces, he slashes it 17 times with the same move that he used to slash the fish from earlier. So, this might be one of the breathing technique's forms that he uses. It's not just a random slashing. When he finished fighting the upper rank 5, the poison started to kick in. It could be because the scar on his face has the ability to stop the poison, just like Nezuko using her blood demon art to burn the poison. Or he could be using the breathing techniques to slow down the poison for the whole time. In the next scene, they show that the kid is still alive and gives Rengoku's sword handle to the swordsmith. We also see the flashback of Rengoku and Takedo. No wonder Takedo is so strong. He is the youngest Hashira, and he also lived in the mansion. As a junior, all the Hashiras must adore him and teach him some fighting techniques. Back to Tanjiro. Whenever we see him, he is always fighting for his life. He has had more than 20 near-death experiences throughout the season. This time, the dragon tosses him up to the sky. Did you notice that Tanjiro said there are 5 wooden demon dragon heads? But we only see 4 of them attacking Tanjiro. It's because the other one is busy protecting the main body of the demon. When the dragon blasts the sonic sound into Tanjiro, Tanjiro vomits. It's not blood. This is accurate because if you get attacked by a sonic blast, it's not just your ears that get damaged. It's also your internal organs and the water in your body. The reason why the love Hashira can toss a wooden dragon head like that is because she is stronger than most men. That's why she eats a lot. She also mentioned in a previous episode that because she is too strong, no men want her. She might be the strongest Hashira after the Stone Hashira if we talk about strength. This episode is the first episode that we get to see a pre-credit scene. Pre-credit scene is the opposite from end credit scene. In this hilarious scene, Zenitsu breaks the fourth wall and rants about the hardships he has faced throughout his journey, just like he always does. But there is a subtle detail that caught my eye in this scene. When Zenitsu is wearing a waiter uniform, his tie has the same pattern as his kimono. He also gives Chuntaro, his sparrow companion, a tiny and adorable bow that matches his outfit. I have mixed feelings about Zenitsu's absence in this season. On one hand, I miss his comic relief and lightning-fast moves. On the other hand, I'm glad that he's not getting beaten up by demons left and right. When Mitsuri facing off against the upper rank 4 demon. In this intense scene, I noticed something amazing when I watched it in slow motion. Mitsuri's sword is not only flexible and long like a whip, but she can also adjust its length at will. Sometimes she makes it shorter or longer depending on the situation. This gives her more versatility and agility in her combat style. She can also retract it to its normal size and fit it back into her sword sheath when she's done. In this scene, we get a close-up shot of Mitsuri's sword, and we can see the letter on it more clearly. The letter is koi, which means love in Japanese. But it also has another meaning when combined with other kanji. For example, koima means evil demon, and koimetsu means destruction. This shows the contrast between Mitsuri's gentle personality and her fierce fighting style. Also, at this scene when she stand and look at the dragon, it's shaped like a heart. This matches her theme of love and her cute appearance. Mitsuri's fighting form is graceful and elegant, like a dancer. Even the visual effect when she slices the wooden dragon is soft and smooth. This symbolizes how Mitsuri tries to hide her true self behind a gentle facade. She has always been insecure about her strength and personality, as we see in her flashback. But after she gets hit by the sound wave and recovers, she shows her true self by changing her fighting form to more powerful and swift. Even the visual effect when she cuts the wooden dragon is sharper and more intense than before. This is a brilliant way to show Mitsuri's character development without using any dialogue, but only through the art and animation. The action speaks louder than words. Let's take a closer look at this scene for a moment. She yells at the upper rank 4 demon, demanding him to return Nezuko and Genya to her. But do you remember in the first episode how she reacted when Genya ignored her? She burst into tears and ran to Tanjiro, complaining that there was a rude guy on the mountain who wouldn't even tell her his name. But now she suddenly remembers his name as if they were friends. How did that happen? Did you notice the amazing detail in this scene? Whenever the wooden dragon unleashes its power at Mitsuri, you can see in slow motion that the power originates from the root of the dragon, not just from its mouth. That shows how much the animator team care about the logic in this animation. You might be wondering what this blue power is that the dragon spits out from its mouth. Well, it's actually the same power that belongs to the sad emotion demon who wields a spear. Since the demon can't hold the spear anymore, it transfers its power to the dragon instead. It's the same power that hit Genya and made him look like a cheese, remember? But I wonder if Genya can regenerate his clothes or not. Pay attention to this scene where the upper rank 5 demon gets angry and slams the drums to create 7 more wooden dragons. The animation shows us a red energy flowing from the demon to the dragons. This means that he is using his blood demon art, which is a special kind of magic that demons can use by manipulating their own blood. By using blood demon art, he can make his dragons stronger and give them more unique abilities from Muzan. In the following scene, we see Mitsuri leaping into the sky and swinging her sword to slice through the 7 wooden dragons. Her sword grows incredibly long, reaching up to 80 meters above the ground. The animation also shows a beautiful pink tornado effect around her sword, making it look like she's dancing in the air. I have to praise the anime team for doing such an incredible job with this scene. It's truly stunning to watch. In the flashback, we get to see Mitsuri's past and how she looked like when she was a little kid. She had black hair and normal strength, just like any other child. Some people think that she became so strong because of her eating habits, which made her muscles much denser than a regular human's. They also think that her hair changed to green and pink because she loved to eat sakura mochi, a sweet rice cake filled with red bean paste. In the flashback, we also see that Mitsuri had 2 cats as pets. But did you know that she actually had 4 cats in total? She is a huge animal lover, and she likes to take care of many different animals, such as rabbits and bees. She even makes her own honey from the bees she raises. In the beginning of the flashback, we see Mitsuri getting rejected by a man wearing glasses, who was supposed to be her arranged husband. And now, we see her getting rejected by another man in the village, who was scared of her strength. She has no luck in finding a boyfriend in this village, because she has been turned down by too many men, and everyone gossips about her behind her back. In the next scene, when she has a flashback in the master's mansion, we see Obanai giving her a pair of long socks as a gift. Before that, she used to wear black socks that were shorter. This is the first gift she ever received from a man, and it means a lot to her. The reason why Kenya can eat demon flesh is because he was born with a strong jaw and a special ability that lets him gain the demon's power and use some of their blood demon art. That's how he can regenerate his clothes after they were destroyed, because he ate the upper rank 4 demon's flesh. Even Daki, the upper rank 6 demon, could regenerate her clothes too. Notice this scene where she grabs the dragon's head with her bare hand. Kenya can do that because he ate the upper rank 4 demon's flesh, which gave him the strength of a demon. But Mitsuri can do it with her human strength alone. That shows how powerful she really is. Did you spot her Demon Slayer mark on her neck? This mark gives her more strength and speed, just like Tokito Muchiro and Tanjiro. But there is something different about her mark. Maybe it's always there, but we couldn't see it because it was covered by her shirt. Even the Upper Moon one also said for 400 years he had never seen a Demon Slayer who had this ability like Genya. That means that 400 years ago, there was another human who had this ability. In my theory, I think there are more people who have this ability, but they don't have a strong enough jaw to eat the demon flesh, which is as hard as a boulder.
And the first detail that I noticed in this episode is Tanjiro's Demon Slayer mark. It has already emerged on his head, but normally he only has one mark on his forehead. In this scene, if you watch closely, you can clearly see another mark peeking out from the side of his head. It's just hidden by his hair so we can't see it very well. But it's just a small mark, like a secondary power-up, not the full ultimate power mark that we saw in Season 2 when he was about to cut off the upper 6 head. In this scene, when Tanjiro shouts at the fear demon to not run while he tries to escape into the forest, it's a foreshadowing of Season 2 when Tanjiro shouted at the upper 3 demon to not run and face his responsibility. It's also a foreshadowing of the upper 4 demon's past, when he was still a human who always ran away from his responsibility. This scene happens so fast that you might miss it. You might think Kenya missed when he threw the tree. But if we slow down the video, we can see that when Kenya threw the tree at the fear demon, the first tree missed, but the second tree did land on top of the demon. However, this demon's skin is much stronger than a boulder, so this tree didn't do any damage. This scene reveals Kenya's incredible speed and strength as a half-demon. We can see that Tanjiro is the first one to chase after the upper 4 demon, followed by Nezuko. But in a flash, Kenya dashes past them both, leaving behind his gun and sword. He knows that his weapons are useless against this tiny demon, so he relies on his agility and power. In Zenitsu's flashback scene, we discover a detail that Zenitsu explains to Tanjiro that the thunder-breathing technique is about channeling all the strength in your body to your legs. This implies that anyone with strong legs can achieve this godlike speed and combine it with other breathing techniques. I hope in Season 2 we will see Tanjiro and Zenitsu using this amazing skill together to fight the demons. But did you notice? How does Zenitsu know all this when he is always asleep during battles? In this scene, when Tanjiro is about to slice the demon's head, we can see that he uses thunder breathing before switching to sun breathing. We can tell by the mist animation that appears first and then changes to fire later. This mist animation is identical to the one that Zenitsu makes every time he uses his thunder breathing technique. In this scene, the small demon grows bigger, but notice the letter on his tongue. This means that this demon can split into 6 different emotions, and his main body is separate from them. We don't usually see how Nezuko throws her blood at the demons, but in this scene the animation shows us in a single frame that she clenches her fist and uses her nail to stab the palm of her hand. That's how she produces the blood that she throws. We can also see in the background that when the demon is burning, both of her palms are still bleeding. When Tanjiro pushes the demon off the cliff and Nezuko tries to save him, it's a foreshadowing of Season 1 when Tanjiro pushed another demon off the cliff, but Nezuko caught him on time. Some people might wonder how Tanjiro got stuck on a tree. But if we watch this scene in slow motion, We can see that there is a tree on the cliff. It's just too dark and it happens too fast, so some people might miss it. In this amazing scene, when Tokido throws the new sword to Tanjiro, Tanjiro uses the thunder breathing mixed with sun breathing again. But this time it's much cooler because we can see the thunder animation just like Zenitsu's. But Tanjiro's animation is thunder first and then fire second. He needs to use thunder to boost his speed, and then he switches to sun breathing mid-air. When Tanjiro is about to slice the demon's head mid-air, we can see that his sword turns slightly red without using any of Nezuko power. This is a hint that this sword will become fully red in the next season. When the sun is rising, the demon and Nezuko are burning from the heat of the sun. But notice that every demon that we have seen burning from the sun throughout 3 seasons so far has a different burning pattern from Nezuko. All those demons burn from the skin to black ash like charcoal, but Nezuko burns into red skin that we have never seen before. It's like Nezuko's skin is starting to become immune to the sunlight. That's why when she sheds all that old skin of hers, she reveals a new skin that can withstand the sunlight. In this scene, some people are angry at Tanjiro because they think saving Nez is the top priority. They think the swordsmiths die a lot and they are not as important as Nezuko. They think there is no need to choose who to save. But it's not that simple as we can see. It's not only about saving those 3 swordsmiths, but also about the Upper Moon, 4 Demon himself. If Tanjiro lets this Upper Moon 4 get away with it this time, it's just like history repeating itself when the Upper Moon 3 escaped into the forest when the sun was rising. So it's a foreshadowing and a commitment of Tanjiro. If he lets this demon get away, the lives of those who died in this fight will be meaningless. And Nezuko knows that. That's why she sacrifices herself for those 3 swordsmiths, because this is her character development. Nez doesn't want Tanjiro to repeat the same history when Rengoku died. When little Nez kicks Tanjiro away, she makes a hand sign to Tanjiro to encourage him to continue the journey without her. This means she doesn't know that she is going to be immune to the sun. So in this scene, Nezuko is ready to die. Nez is always ready to sacrifice herself like the other Hashiras, even though she is a demon. But I think if Nez dies, Tanjiro will become much stronger than that, because his motivation will change from helping Nezuko to avenging Nezuko. Because in this world, the most powerful motivation is not love, not responsibility, but the power of vengeance. Notice in this scene, when Tanjiro is about to slice through the demon's heart, the animation shows 2 scents. One is gray and one is red. The gray one is the scent of the clone body of this demon, and the red one is the scent of the main body. It's so tiny and hidden that it barely has any smell, but Tanjiro can still detect this tiny demon. In the flashback of the Upper Moon 4 Demon, they show us that this demon always ran away from his responsibility. He was always afraid, and he even killed other people because of that. Because he didn't accept the reality, and that fear gave him the ability to create another clone of himself with his emotions when he became a demon. When Nezuko becomes fully immune to the sun, her black dots in her eyes change from normal to having some cracks. This might be because she is still affected by the sunlight. Also, the theory that she starts talking is because she can control 100% of her mind now. She doesn't need the bamboo stick to stop her from attacking humans anymore. Miss Tamayo also said that Nezuko's blood can cure the man that Tanjiro saved from Season 1 and make him live like Ms. Tamayo with a small amount of blood. In Muzan's flashback, they show us that Muzan became a demon because of a medicine from a doctor who used the blue spider lily for experimental treatment. But if this was just an illness, how can all these demons use magic? That medicine might have something to do with magic. Or if it was only an illness, it could also be cured like Ms. Tamayo said. So that's all for today's video.